The Mandalorian, Episode 2, Chapter 18, The Mines of Mandalore. Din Djarin continues his side quest for a memory circuit for IG-11 and travels to Tatooine to meet with Peli Motto, where in the meantime we can see her in the process of scamming customers using Jawas, and how she hasn't been caught yet doing this by anyone in Mos Eisley. I have no idea. She asks Din if he's on Tatooine to meet with Boba Fett, which was my previous prediction in thinking that he would be asking Boba to help him on Mandalore because, he helped Boba before. But nope, Din just lets her know that he's here on business to meet her looking for a droid part, that he quickly soon after finds out that she doesn't have it. So instead of going into town to look or heading off to literally any other planet, Din ends up accepting Peli's random offer on the spot and taking R5-D4. Which, while on one hand it's kinda neat to see the broken down unwanted droid that Luke Skywalker almost took in A New Hope now become Din's personal astromech, but on the other hand, it also felt like this made absolutely no sense at all, as Din seemed so determined to repair IG-11, previously even turning down offers from Greef on getting an even better droid and for free too. All now just to randomly take a scared droid that not only is falling apart and doesn't want to go with him, but he's gotta pay for it too? Oof. This right here marks Din's first low IQ moment of the episode, and I say that because there's more to come, and it only gets worse from here on out. And just to make it clear, I'm not saying Din taking an astromech over an assassin droid is an L, but more so from the in-universe perspective here, this made no sense. And he was made to look like a fool because, well, I guess writing's hard. After getting scammed by his dear friend Peli, Din and Grogu travel to Mandalore with R5, of which during the journey Din also has Grogu learn about the navigation maps and the Mandalore system, which I thought was nice and sets up things for later. However, I did have one small issue with one line here that he mentions to Grogu about every single Mandalorian being able to trace their lineage to Mandalore, which is plain wrong, as we know being Mandalorian is a creed, a religion, not a race. Especially with plenty of Mandalorians like Din who were born not even Mandalorians and only later in their childhood would be adopted into the Mandalorian culture. I mean, it'd be like, for example, if Luke Skywalker was randomly one day on Tatooine picked up by some Mandos and became a Mando himself. Then you couldn't say that he could trace his lineage to Mandalore, as we know neither Anakin nor Padme had anything to do with being Mandalorian. Not to mention, Mandalorians aren't even the original natives of Mandalore either. So yeah, now you can see why I thought this line was so dumb. Anyway, once on the planet's surface, Din asks R5 to get an air quality sample to see if the atmosphere is breathable. But rather than doing that, R5 rolls out into a cave with Din just sitting there and, well, not saying anything. Even blaming things on radio interference once R5's signal mysteriously disappears. And after some more waiting, he decides to go check up on R5 himself and, well, he runs into some troglodyte-looking creatures by the name of Alamites. Which, hey, look at that, they turn out to be the true natives of Mandalore. Go figure. Interestingly enough, Din struggles quite a bit of these cave-dweller Ooga Boogas, even with the Darksaber, and only narrowly manages to win. After saving his astromech, he brings R5 back to his starfighter and only then has it run an air sample check. Which is strange because couldn't it had done that right in front of the starfighter in the first place? Either way, it turns out that the planet isn't poison after all, and Din sets out for the mines of Mandalore together with Grogu. But on their way there, Din however gets ambushed by a large crab droid that turns out to be piloted by some strange cybernetic creature. With Din neutralized, he tells Grogu to go to Bo-Katan for help. And it's here where we get a fun little sequence of Grogu rushing back to the ship and having R5 pilot it to Kalevala, where Bo's castle is. And this whole segment of this episode I really did like, with Bo joining Grogu in traveling to Mandalore and helping to find Din. Yeah, it did kind of feel a bit like the Grogu and Bo show at this point, but it was different and I didn't mind it at all. Heck, Bo even randomly ends up attacking a poor family of Alamites just minding their own business and pretty much kills all of them for fun. And well, she, unlike Din, handles them fairly easily too, with only hand-to-hand combat and a dagger at her disposal. Whereas Din struggled with the Darksaber, so yeah, there's that. She even ends up taking out the cybernetic creature that captured Din using the Darksaber, and that's a cool looking little fight scene right here. Especially since Bo actually does know how to wield the Darksaber and all, and it really does show. After Din is rested and recovered, Bo brings him to the living waters where he is to bathe to become reborn as a Mandalorian, you know, his exact quest. And he does that right here. All of which the entire time Bo is berating him about how fake and pointless these old traditions, superstitions, and even laughs at the tale of Mandalore taming a mythosaur. Because, everyone knows mythosaurs are make-believe, right? And that's where Bo is hit with a dose of reality, as after Din weirdly starts rapidly sinking into the waters, I'm guessing something is pulling him? It's up to Bo to once again save the day, which, while she does do exactly that, we also then find out that Din was only randomly sinking into the waters like some buffoon. And no, he was not being pulled in like I originally thought he was, making Din look even more like a huge useless dummy here. But it's at this point right here that we, along with Bo, get to witness a second or two of an actual mythosaur. Which, whoa, hey, look at that. They really do exist, and dang does it look good. Resembling far closer to the Mando Mythosaur skull symbol, unlike those that we've seen in Legends material. And with this reveal, I'm sure it's safe to say that Bo might end up changing her views on certain things, and who knows, maybe even be more accepting now of the Children of the Watches and Din's ways and traditions. Overall, this episode did have quite a number of enjoyable moments, as well the visuals here were absolutely fantastic. Whether it be looking at the ruins of the Mandalorian cities, the cybernetic creature that captured Din, the mythosaur, or even the action scenes with Bo, there's no getting around it. There are some real nice eye candy here to be had. Plus, with Din already finishing his quest in literally the first 2 episodes of the season, that now opens up the rest of the season to so many possibilities that really does excite me. Can't say I was expecting that, but well done. But on the flip side, I do unfortunately have some issues here, which aside from the writing not being great and not really making sense for the most part, or well, the episode being quite exposition heavy, I mainly did not like how many times Din took an L here because the writing simply made him do it. It almost felt like they were forcing in ways to make Din look like a clumsy fool just so that they could glorify Bo. And come on, we've seen her already in Clone Wars and in Season 2, and we know she's a badass. There's no need to nerf Din in order to showcase this. So yeah, this did bother me as it felt unnatural compared to all of the other times that we've spent with Din. We know he's smarter and more clever than what he's made out to be here. I like Bo, but you can't gimp your main star character just for the sake of her, at least in my opinion. Anyway, on the bright side, I did at least like this episode far more than the premiere, so that's a plus right there for me. But it's still just a real shame that this had to have the issues that it did, as so far, Season 3 seems to me to have a rocky start. It's not bad, but it ain't great either. Or at least not to the Mandalorian quality that we expect it to be. And that was my take on this episode of The Mandalorian. Let me know what you all thought about the episode in the comments below, and if you haven't already, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.